I had the craziest dream last night about a girl who was turned into a swan. She needs love to break the spell, but her prince falls for the wrong girl, and she kills herself. I started training a year before the film. I worked with a ballet teacher named Mary Helen Bowers, who was a New York City ballet dancer for 10 years. And so we were doing 5 hours a day of training. That it was like 3 hours of ballet, and then we would swim a mile and tone for 2 hours. There was no break in the day. You know, as soon as we would finish a shot, I'd be warming up physically, getting ready for the next thing. And you really understand the discipline, the rigor, the willingness to work through physical pain, and also spending 5 hours a day with a former New York City ballet dancer for a year gave me a lot of stories. You know, you really go through everything, and that was really helpful in building a very, very detailed sort of backstory for this world. He promised to feature me more this season.
Well, he certainly should. You're the most dedicated dancer in the company.
Our new Swan Queen, the exquisite Nina Sayers.
When I look at you, all I see is the White Swan. Beautiful, fearful, fragile. But the Black Swan?
I can dance the Black Swan too.
I want to see passion, seduce. Come on, attack it, attack it.
There were constant, you know, foot things and strained muscles. But the worst thing was the dislocated rib, which happened during a lift. And that's when sort of one rib goes under another rib. And it just sort of feels like a stitch. So you can't really take it happened in the middle of, really at the halfway point. So for the second half of the film, I couldn't really take a deep breath. But they just changed the lifts from then on so that they'd be under my armpits instead of around my rib cage. And it's also good to understand what real dancers go through, because they're constantly dancing through very difficult injuries. And it often happens too right when they get promoted, because they'll work really, really hard to get promoted, and then when they get promoted, they have bad injuries because they've been dancing so hard, and then they don't want to give up their spot because they don't want to be replaced. So they'll just dance with a sprained ankle or with a torn plantar fascia, or, you know, some really extreme thing that would usually have people, you know, benched. But really, they just, you know, they'll dance beautifully on stage, and then they'll limp off into a bucket of ice. It's pretty shocking.
You make the most of it, Nina.
What's she doing here? She's after me.
Nobody's after you.
This world's destroying you.
The only person standing in your way is you.
Darren is a really, really exacting director. He's phenomenal, and it was really wonderful to get to watch him work, because we were the only ones who were really there sort of every day. And then I got to see him work with the different actors who came in and out, and see how he tailored his approach with every actor, which was really incredible to see. And he gave me, I think, one of the greatest gifts that any director's ever given me, which was after we'd try everything that he wanted to do, you know, he'd give me 10 different ways to attack a scene. Then he would say, now do this one for yourself. And a lot of directors say, okay, this one's a freebie, or this is a free take. But to just put it in those words gave me such a different understanding, both for myself and also for the character, that artistry has to do with pleasing yourself, not with pleasing someone else. And that Nina's key to becoming an artist is finding pleasure herself, not trying to just please her mother or please Leroy, and sort of just stepping out of that whole world of being a child and becoming a woman and an artist. This film is an example of a role that I was very, very honored to have the opportunity to do, and excited by the chance of challenging myself in this way. The most fun is to hear people debating like their different takes on what the movie is about and what it means and what's real and what's not real, and just to see people engaging so passionately in it is, you know, your greatest dream when you're making a movie.
What happened to my sweet girl?
She's gone!